Good afternoon. I just wanted to share my first real estate deal that I have made. Ever since I was very, very young, I've always wanted to get into real estate, and it's kind of been like a dream for me. But when I bought my first property, it was a really surreal moment. So I just wanted to share that scenario, what happened. About 6 months ago, I decided I'm just going to take some time off school. I'm not going to get sidetracked. I'm just going to work. I'm just going to earn as much money as I can in this 3 to 4 month period. And once I earn enough money, I'm going to buy my first property and make my first deal. So I did tree planting and I did tree thinning. They're both extremely brutal, physically demanding labor jobs, and it's mindless. You're just planting trees in the dirt. And then after that, you go back to a field you just planted, and then you use a big saw, and then you cut down all the trees that have grown up and are choking the life out of the trees you already planted. And this was like during the fall and then going into the winter. So it was really, really hot and then really, really cold. So I made about $5,500. And then after that, I waited for the next property tax sale that was coming to my city. And they happen quarterly. And uh, they started bidding on the properties. And basically, property tax sale is if you don't pay your property taxes, then the government will come and take your property and then sell it at a public auction in order to cover the expenses of the property tax that have not been paid. So I sat down. It was a surreal moment for me. I was like, okay, I've been wanting to do this forever, and I had only $5,000 to work with. That's hardly anything. So I was like, I'm just gonna take what I can get. So I bid on a ton of properties, but a lot of them went up to like 30, 40, 50K. I was like, there's no hope. So then at like around the second to last property, um, there was a property about 40 minutes from where I live, just in the middle of nowhere. It's actually near a camp. So the opening bid was something like $2,000. So I bid 2,500, and then another person started bidding. So we dickered back and forth, and finally I said 4,500, and then no one else uh, tried to push that. So I actually became the owner and I won the bid. So I got my first property. And I wanted to build a little tiny house, little tiny cabin on it, or try to flip it. But there's kind of an interesting issue with the property. Um, if this is the road, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a road here, and then my property is beside the road, but there's another property that encapsulates my property that I bought, and the only way into it is through the public driveway that is owned by the land surrounding it. So my property is landlocked. So the only way I can get to it is if I get a right of way through someone else's property. And real estate, the only way real estate has value is based on its access. So there's no access to my property. The only way I can get access is through a right of way. So I reached out to the camp director. It's funny that the property that encapsulates my property is owned by a camp. So I talked to the director and I said, hey, I need a right of way. Will you grant me a right of way? I will cover all the legal fees. I'll do everything that needs to be done. And he said, no, we won't. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just have to try to find a buyer. And it's going to be really hard to find a buyer because it's surrounded. So it's landlocked, kind of worthless. So I was like, man, I really messed up on this deal. I should have been more patient. But anyway, it's only 21. And then a few weeks later, I got an email saying, hey, this is the camp director, same guy I was talking to. We want to buy your property from you. I was like, this is amazing. Maybe this will save my life here. So I was like, okay, let's go meet. So we met, and I negotiated a little bit, and he offered me 12 grand, so $12,000. So right there, that's more than doubling what I paid for it. I didn't accept, and I'm actually still negotiating with him right now. But my goal for this deal is if I can successfully flip this property for more than half, I want to get actually 15,000 for it. So if I can get 15,000 right here, I only paid 4,500. Okay? So that's more than doubling your property value, your money. And then once I get that money, I've already saved up 3 grand since I bought the property. So then I'll have 18 grand. So I just like tripled my capital from when I first started, and that's a really, really good profit for just a few months, 5 months since I started saving the money. Once I have that, then I can start expanding my horizons. Now I have leverage to get even larger properties, and so this is my first deal that I made when I was 21. I just turned 22, and 22, I want to get a larger piece of land. I want to build a tiny house on it, very boutique tiny house. And then I also want to do a house flip, and that'll involve getting outside investors to invest, and I'll give them some shares, and I'll say, hey, I'm Yun, I'm going to do all the legwork, I'm going to negotiate, I'm going to interface with all the contractors, I'm going to make this deal work. And that's what I want to do for 22. That's my kind of like my New Year's resolutions or whatever. But so yeah, that's my first deal, and stay tuned. I'll be dropping a video out on my second deal very soon. Thanks for watching.